Blade Runner 2049 isn't just a sequel to a sci-fi classic. It's a story about loneliness. It's about a future where humans learned how to create life, but somehow lost the right to call themselves alive. Denis Villeneuve shows us a broken world. Cities are drowning in neon ads and acid rain. The environment is dead, animals are extinct, food is synthetic, and the sky is nothing but static gray. But the scariest part isn't that. The scariest part is that even emotions can now be manufactured like products. In this future, corporations make replicants, artificial humans grown on demand. They have bodies, they have minds, they even have memories. But they've been told they're property. They've been taught that they belong to someone. You can buy them, control them, shut them off. In this world, being human has a price tag. The main character is an officer named K. He's not human. He's a next-generation replicant, built to obey. His job is to find and retire older models, the ones who became too human. In other words, a machine created by people now hunts other machines for being too alive. Beautiful, right? Humans don't kill anymore. They just outsource the dirty moral work to those they no longer consider human. And that brings us to the first big question the movie asks. If you can feel pain, if you remember your childhood, if you can love, then who has the right to say you're not human? From the very beginning, the film puts us in an uncomfortable place. There's no clear hero or villain. In the world of 2049, there's no simple fight between good and evil, only survival, and the desperate need to prove that you're more than a function. Because Blade Runner 2049 isn't really a movie about robots. It's a movie about us, about a world where your worth isn't measured by your soul, but by your usefulness.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Villeneuve doesn't dump exposition on us. He doesn't explain how this world works. He shows it. Bodies can be grown, memories can be implanted, love can be programmed, and identities can be turned off with a single command. This isn't some distant sci-fi future. It's just the logical next step of our own world. That's why the world of 2049 feels so cold. It's not just visually empty, it's morally drained. No one asks, "What's right?" anymore. They ask, "Who owns this?" The main conflict begins when something impossible happens. In a world where replicants are officially considered non-living, a shocking discovery surfaces. One of them may have been born.
Fracture through the ilium.
A replicant wasn't made. A replicant was born. That's not just a plot twist, it's a religious-level revolution. Because if an artificial being can be born naturally, it's no longer a product, it's a species, a new form of life. From that moment on, the film stops being a noir detective story. It becomes a story about faith, about hope, about the question of who truly deserves to be called real.
That's not possible.
And that leads us to the next idea. What makes us human? What we are, or what we believe about ourselves? Kay begins to ask this question, not to the world, but to himself. The story becomes about a man who lives knowing he's not human, and suddenly gets a reason to believe he might be special. Kay lives by the rules. He wakes up, goes to work, follows orders. There's no randomness in his life, no real choice. Even his emotions are carefully measured, just enough to keep him efficient. But Villeneuve shows that behind this emptiness, there isn't coldness, there's pain. The pain of knowing you live in a world where yourself is just a line of code.
Cells interlinked.
Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked.
Interlinked, within cells interlinked. The test he takes after every mission feels like a prayer without a god. Its purpose is simple, to make sure the replicant is still under control. And in those moments, Kay doesn't look like a machine at all. He looks like a man desperately trying to convince the system that he doesn't feel. But the more he suppresses what's inside, the stronger it pushes back. And what breaks through isn't rebellion, it's doubt. And doubt, as Villeneuve quietly reminds us, is the first sign of a soul. At home, Kay is greeted by Joy, an artificial intelligence designed to be the perfect companion. She's a program, a projection, with no body, no real presence. But somehow, with her, Kay feels alive. He speaks softer, he smiles, he even shows care. It's not love in the human sense, but it's the only warmth he's ever known. The irony is heartbreaking. The only being he can be himself with doesn't exist. He's an artificial man. She's an artificial emotion. And yet, between them, there's something strangely real, a faint spark of warmth in a dead, frozen world.
I'm so happy when I'm with you.
But that illusion doesn't last. As Kay investigates the case of the Bourne replicant, he finds clues that shatter everything he believed. Among the fake memories planted in his mind, one stands out. A childhood memory, a tree, a small wooden horse, fear, and he's certain it's real, his own. That moment changes everything. It's the first time a machine feels hope, because if his memory is real, maybe he's the one, the child born, not made, and if he was born, then maybe he's human. This is where his spiritual awakening begins. Not from God, not from love, but from the idea that he might have a soul. It's the first time the film turns truly personal. Up to this point, we were watching the story of a world. Now it's the story of a man trying to understand if he really exists. And here lies one of the film's greatest paradoxes. What makes us human, our origin, or our choices? Kay begins to believe he's special, and it's this belief, not proof, that makes him feel alive. But as he moves closer to the truth, the movie starts to whisper. Faith isn't always salvation. Sometimes it's just another kind of control. Next comes the story of joy and the illusion of love. When even emotions can be sold, can something artificial still touch the soul? In the world of Blade Runner, love isn't a feeling, it's a service. It comes in a package. You can customize it. It says exactly what you want to hear. And Kay knows that. He knows joy is just a program, built to make him happy, but he still chooses to believe. She's the only one who ever tells him, "You're real." In a world that constantly calls him a thing, she's the first to say he's human. And maybe that's why he can't let her go. But Villeneuve doesn't show love as salvation. He shows it as a mirror of loneliness. Joy doesn't live. She exists through Kay. She's the perfect woman, but only as long as she reflects him. She has no identity until she becomes his echo.
Joy is anything you want her to be.
The most brutal moment comes when Kay sees the giant holographic ad for Joy on the street. Same face, same voice, same words. What once felt intimate turns out to be mass-produced. His one true love was just a product line, one of millions. Even the name she gave him, Joe, the name that made him feel human, turns out to be nothing more than a marketing trick built into her code. And in that moment, it's not just the illusion of love that collapses, it's the illusion of being special. Kay realizes that even his emotions might have been written by someone else, and that's where the real pain begins. Because realizing you're artificial doesn't kill hope, it makes it stronger. He doesn't stop believing, he just starts to understand that belief isn't about truth, it's about choice. Joy isn't just a character, she's a metaphor for the entire 21st century. We live in a world of simulations too, creating digital copies of feelings, friendships, and memories. Our relationships exist through screens, and every like feels like proof that we exist. But what happens when we're loved by programs made to love us? Does that make our love any less real? If the emotion is real, does it matter that it came from an illusion? Villeneuve never gives an answer. He simply shows that even something artificial can still be sincere. The pain Kay feels when Joy is gone, that pain is real. And that's the bitter irony. The man made of plastic feels deeper emotions than the humans who built him. That's the essence of Blade Runner. A world full of fakes gives birth to the truest humanity, inside those who were never meant to have it. Next comes the part where Kay's faith begins to break, when the truth about the miracle is revealed, and he learns that maybe he was never the chosen one at all. The further Kay follows the trail of the born replicant, the more everything starts to make sense. At least in his mind, he truly believes he's the one, the child who was born, not made. He's not searching for proof of a mission, he's searching for proof of meaning. If he was born naturally, then maybe he isn't a mistake. Every scene of his journey feels like a pilgrimage. He's not walking through the city, he's walking through his own mind, erasing the line between man and machine. But the truth waiting for him is too cruel to bear. He meets Deckard, a legend, a ghost from the past, a man running from himself. Deckard is a living link to an older world, one where the question, "Are you human or replicant?" stopped mattering a long time ago. He's lost love, friends, purpose, everything except the memory of the woman he once loved. And in the silence between them, we get a haunting reflection. Two runaways, one running from others, the other from himself.
What was her name? The mother of your child.
Then comes the moment that shatters everything. Kay learns that the child was a girl, not him. Every clue, every memory, every hope, a lie. He's not the chosen one. He's just another tool, built to find the real miracle. He's not human, he's a function. It's the film's breaking point. Up until now, Kay's journey was rising, toward hope. Now he's falling, into despair. And the deeper he falls, the more human he becomes. Because pain is something machines aren't supposed to feel.
I love you.
He loses everything: faith, love, purpose. But inside that emptiness, something new is born: choice. For the first time, he acts not out of duty, not for reward, but because his soul tells him to. That's the moment he becomes real. Kay decides to help Deckard save his daughter, even though he's nobody. He accepts his lack of meaning as freedom. He doesn't need to be special to do what's right. He just chooses, and that choice makes him more human than anyone else. Villeneuve shows that truth doesn't set us free, it isolates us. But within that loneliness, humanity is born. Only through pain do we find meaning, even if that meaning was never ours to begin with. Next comes the final act, the rescue, the snowfall, and Kay's death, the most human act ever performed by something not human.
Because you've never seen a miracle.
The ending of Blade Runner isn't about explosions or saving the world. It's about silence. Villeneuve does the unthinkable for a blockbuster. He replaces spectacle with intimacy, action with sacrifice. Kay doesn't go to save himself or humanity. He goes to save one man, Deckard, and in that quiet act lies the greatness of his journey. The fight scene in the water is one of the most poetic moments in modern cinema. Everything gets washed away: blood, lies, the past. The water becomes a kind of baptism. When Kay rises from it, he's reborn, not as a replicant, not as an officer, but as a man who finally made his own choice. He saves Deckard, the man who represents the past, and, by doing so, gives him a chance at the future. In that moment, Kay seems to say, "I don't need to be special to do what's right." He does what no human in the story could. He sacrifices himself with no hope of reward. Snow is the final symbol of Blade Runner. It stands in contrast to the rain that followed Kay through the whole story. Rain was about cleansing guilt. Snow is about peace. It falls slowly over him, like forgiveness finally reaching a world where everyone was created by someone else, but no one ever truly understood one another.
Just a moment.
Meanwhile, Deckard meets his daughter. Between them, glass. Glass that separate human from replicant, father from child. A barrier that can't be broken, only accepted. It's not a happy ending. It's a catharsis. True humanity isn't about saving the world. It's about realizing that what needs saving is meaning itself. Kay dies on those cold steps, but he dies alive. He lived a short life, yet a real one, filled with pain, choice, love, and loss. A life more genuine than that of the people who created him. And in that final silence, surrounded by white stillness, the story comes full circle. It began with artificial life and ends with a real death. Paradoxically, Kay, an artificial man, becomes the most human being in the world. He proves that a soul isn't something you're given, it's something you find on your own. When Blade Runner 2049 ends, it feels like the world hasn't changed. Still cold, still empty, wrapped in fog, but something has changed inside it. One artificial man did something deeply human, and that's what makes this story so powerful. Denis Villeneuve reminds us, humanity isn't about where you come from or what you're made of. It's about the ability to choose kindness, even when it means nothing, even when no one's watching. You don't owe it to God or people or any algorithm. You just decide, and that decision defines who you are. This ending is the opposite of the classic Hollywood save the world. The hero doesn't become a legend. He doesn't get recognition. He leaves no mark on history. He simply gives someone else a chance to live. And that's enough. It's a quiet revolution in cinema philosophy. Villeneuve destroys the illusion that a hero is someone who wins. He says a hero is someone who understands. In the final moments, Kay feels almost Christ-like, but without religion. He doesn't die for everyone. He dies for meaning. He becomes a symbol of a new kind of faith. Faith in humanity as an act of will, not biology. And that leads us to the film's core idea. In an age where everything can be copied, emotions, memories, even love, the only things that remain real are pain and choice. Blade Runner isn't a story about the future. It's a parable about the present, about us, about people who live surrounded by technology, who create digital illusions of closeness, replace feelings with algorithms, and lose the line between what's real and what's a reflection. We are all a little like replicants, and every day we face the same choice: to stay a machine or to become human. The film's final power lies in its silence. It doesn't offer answers. It just shows that being human isn't a gift. It's a struggle. And maybe, just maybe, the most human being in this story is the one who was never born human at all. Blade Runner isn't just a sequel to a cult classic, it's a complete rethinking of it. If Ridley Scott's original asked, "What makes a man alive?" then Villeneuve takes it further and asks, "What makes life truly human?" This movie isn't about robots, or the future, or even science. It's about us, a generation searching for meaning in a world that feels increasingly artificial. We live in an era of simulations, where emotions are replaced by emojis, and our memories are stored in the cloud. Amid all that digital noise, Kay's quiet voice whispers, "I feel, therefore I am." Every character in the film is a shadow of lost humanity. Joy, love without a body. Deckard, a father without a family. Kay, a man without a soul who ends up finding one. And in that irony lies the truth. The further progress takes us from God, the more we long for the simplest things: warmth, truth, touch, and meaning. The ending doesn't answer with words. It answers with silence. Kay dies looking at the sky, finally at peace. He lived a short life, but a real one. He proved that to be human is to feel, even when you were designed not to. The legacy of Blade Runner lies in its honesty. It's one of the few films that doesn't promise salvation. It doesn't romanticize pain, glorify love, or turn its hero into a martyr. It simply shows that sometimes being human means going against your own nature for the sake of someone else. And maybe that's the ultimate truth. We don't become human when we're born. We become human when we're willing to die for something greater than ourselves.